Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon, distinguished guests and the participants of workshop, ladies and gentlemen. I will share with you today on Malaysian experience on the issue of violence against women, and my presentation shall explain an overview of violence against women, government initiatives and programs, current problems and challenges, as well as way forward. Of course, we do have hurdles and challenges along the way. In doing so, we have positioned ourselves in looking at the way forward. Violence against women is a form of discrimination against women that seriously inhibits a woman's right to enjoy rights on an equal basis with men. Violence against women negatively impacts on all aspects of women's life. This includes, but is not limited to, women's right to life. For example, right not to be subject to torture or to cruel treatment, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment. Right to liberty and security of person and right to equal protection under the law, as well as right to equality in the family and right to the highest standard attainable of physical and mental health. As described by the slide, perhaps you would like to know how many percent of the total women population are productive. For your information, women represent 48.7% of Malaysian population, where 33.65% are at the age of 15 to 64 years old, which we can term as productive age. As an overview of gender-based violence or violence against women prevention policies and protection services in Malaysia, the government has formulated a national policy on women and PW and the Plan of Action for the Advancement of Women PAAW, and it was approved in 2009. It was launched during the celebration of Women's Day by our Prime Minister. The objective is to encourage a conducive environment for women to enable them to achieve their full potential and to inculcate gender equality among all levels of society in all sectors. The next one is a 5-year plan known as National Action Plan Against Human Trafficking NAPAHT. The action plan was drafted by Council for Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants and makes recommendations on prevention, monitoring and data collection, legislation, enforcement, protection, and rehabilitation, creating public awareness, opening of shelters, and providing training. Then, National Family Policy was enacted in 2011. The objective of NFP is to develop a prosperous family, healthy and resilient to ensure social stability. It complements the existing policy such as the National Policy, Policy on Women and National Policy, National Child Policy. From the perspective of legal framework, we have identified 9 elements that constitute to our topic on violence against women. There are Penal Code on Sexual Harassment, Employment Act 1995, Domestic Violence Act 1994, Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Act 2007, Communication and Multimedia Act 1998, Penal Code on Rape and Incest, Guidelines in Handling Sexual Harassment in Workplace in Public Sector, Code of Practice on the Prevention and Eradication of Sexual Harassment in the Workplace. Some of the items described here subsume under the Parents Act, such as the Employment Act 1995, Domestic Violence Act 1994, Communication and Multimedia Act 1998, Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Act 2007, and of course, Penal Code and Criminal Procedure Code. For example, Penal Code on Sexual Harassment, Malaysia does not have a specific law on sexual harassment. However, cases on sexual harassment can be sentenced under the Penal Code. The Employment Act 1995, recently, this act was amended and was enforced with effect from 1st April 2012, among others. The act was reviewed to address the issue of sexual harassment in the workplace of the private sector. Prostitution in Malaysia is an offence and shall be punished under the Penal Code. Domestic Violence Act 1994 was enacted to curb the use of violence as an instrument to settle domestic disputes. It is a platform for the victims to seek protection and justice. This act is to be read together with provisions under the Penal Code, Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Act 2007, ATIP, where Malaysia made a commitment to fight human trafficking with the enactment of the ATIP, which was passed by the Parliament in May 2007 and gazetted on 28 February 2008. In 2010, ATIP was amended to include the smuggling of the migrant. The Communication and Multimedia Act 1998, this act prohibits the exploitation of women and children in the advertisement. Then the Penal Code on Rape and Incest, the amendments has been made to address the issue on rape and incest. Recently, amendment to the Section 375E of Penal Code has been increased, and the guidelines in handling sexual harassment in the workplace, in the public sector, and Code of Practice on Prevention and Eradication of Sexual Harassment in the workplace are alike. One is for the private and the other one is for the public service. Code of Practice on Prevention and Eradication of Sexual Harassment in the workplace is a guideline and codes of practice dictates how the employees should handle the situation if they come to contact with the issue, and how is the company handles complaints, what kind of disciplinary action can be taken against somebody. This code is addressing the issue of workers in the private sector, such as private company, enterprises, industries, etc. At present, there are two institutions that are actively involved in violence against women. That is the Secretariat of Council for ATIP and Interagency Committee, which is chaired by the Director General of Social Welfare Department, which is an agency under the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development. There are 5 committees under the Secretariat of the Council for ATIP. There are committees on enforcement chaired by the Royal Malaysian Police, Committee for Legislation chaired by the Attorney General's Chambers, Committee for Victim Protection and Rehabilitation of Traffic Victims chaired by the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development, Committee for Labour chaired by the Ministry of Human Resources, Committee for Media and Publicity chaired by the Ministry of Information, Communication and Culture, while Interagency Committee, which is chaired by the Director General of Social Welfare Department, is a yearly management coordination meeting between government agencies and some relevant non-government agencies. The agendas for this meeting is basically on joint collaboration on how to improve the systems, working together documents that might help to expedite the cases, data collections on domestic violence. If we look at the government initiatives and programs to eliminate violence against women, I would like to share some of the initiatives that bring an impact on the issues. One Stop Crisis Center (OSCC) is a good example of the best practice program in the country. The point of service is located in 129 big hospitals throughout the countries, and the service at One Stop Crisis Center includes examinations, evidence management diagnosis, definitive care, appropriate referral, documentation and medical reporting with priority given to female doctors to attend women victims. Normally, NGO plays an important role in supporting the One-Stop Crisis Center by providing the counseling and emotional support to the victims. The 11 unit, a special division, was established in 2007 in the Royal Malaysian Police. The victims who are handled by the police will go through triage center, which is operated by the police unit. Besides that, we are continuously organizing campaigns and programs to advocate the communities on eliminating violence against women, especially on how to assist the victims, how to be brave, how to report any violence that they witness, and so on. We also educate women on the legal rights and steps taken to voice out their rights legally. We also introduce coach for ladies only as well as taxi for women to ensure their safety when commuting back and forth for work or etc. On current challenges and problems, firstly, I would like to say there are common perception among the public at large that eliminating violence against women is the sole responsibility of the national women missionaries, including Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development. I would like to emphasize that eliminating violence against women is everybody's role and responsibilities, including government missionaries, private sectors, NGOs, employee communities and public at large. In an easy words, every single individual of people is responsible to eliminate violence against women. Secondly, the victim reluctant to come forward because of stigmatization in the society and the lack of support available to victim from family members and relatives. Another issue is on gender mainstreaming efforts. More often than not, focus on the executive level rather than legislative and judicial levels. Top management commitment towards gender empowerment in public and private sectors as well as political parties is lacking. Another problem is lack of understanding among the planners, implementers, and public on the concept of the right as women and children, resulting to inability for them to play their role effectively. On the way forward, I would like to suggest that we need to enhance the violence against women awareness campaign and promotion through media. For example, 90 Days Violence Against Women campaign is conducted. Secondly, collaboration with NGOs through special grant to promote awareness at the grassroots. And thirdly, engagement with young women at tertiary levels. Another thing that we have to look into the commitment of all sectors in the government, private sectors, individuals and communities such as Squad Wajah, and encourage more men and NGOs to support the violence against women issues. With that, I would like to end my presentation